Please take a seat. Thank you all so much for coming to our 12th anniversary annual event, Powered by Purpose. We are so thrilled to see everyone here tonight as we celebrate yet another amazing year for Paper for Water. With the help of our fabulous volunteers and donors, we have been able to continue to bring the gift of clean water and sanitation to communities around the world. I want to start by thanking our Changemaker sponsor this evening, Prairie Creek Partners, and our visionary sponsors, Jessica and Johnny East, Colleen and David Hayes, Susie and T. Hardy, St. Bonaventure Indian Mission, and WillSpec Technologies.
Now I'd like to introduce our event chairs for this evening. Longtime supporters, the Wilbur family has been involved in Paper for Water in numerous ways, from the Changemaker Council to volunteer events and graciously opening their house to host meetings. We could not be more grateful for the generosity of this family. Please give them a warm welcome.
Welcome to the Paper for Water 2023 annual event and dinner. My name is Brian Wilburn. My wife Shannon and I have 5 children, 2 daughters and 3 boys, 3 of whom are here tonight. Asher Wilburn, Ace Wilburn, and Avalon Wilburn. And we have been very involved with Paper for Water for a number of years. When Deborah asked our family to consider chairing this event this year, our answer was a resounding yes. It has been such a blessing to watch the work of Paper for Water for many years. Our initial connection dates back to witnessing the work of Paper for Water through Isabel and Catherine as fellow classmates of our children at Providence Christian School almost 10 years ago. Our involvement with Paper for Water has been a true family affair. Our entire family has been involved in many folding events, and even the least creative of us have developed some talent in some basic folds. Our oldest son, Asher, and Ace joined the Changemakers board a few years ago and have been involved in various planning, brainstorming, and special projects with the Paper for Water board and team. Additionally, our business has sponsored several Christmas tree projects where Wisteria employees and their spouses have served at folding events. Most recently, our middle son, Ace, has established a Paper for Water club on the St. Mark's campus where students meet weekly to volunteer their time creating origami art for various sponsored projects, as well as bringing awareness to Paper for Water to the St. Mark's community. Similarly, our oldest son, Asher, is currently at SMU, where he continues to be connected with the Paper for Water family through the SMU Paper for Water Campus Club. It has been a blessing to see the impact that the heart behind each piece of folded paper can make to give hope to God's people that would otherwise go without the provision of many basic needs. The countless hours that so many volunteers poured into the efforts of Paper for Water is nothing short of God's providence, and as a family, it is our honor to be part of the work that is being done for His people. We thank each of you for taking your time to spend a couple hours tonight hearing from engaging speakers about the tangible impact that clean water and sanitation systems can make in an undeveloped community, and notably on the lives of young women. For those of you who have already supported Paper for Water, we thank you for your effort and your gifts. For those who are here for the first time, we ask you to consider giving your financial support and creativity to continue the work that impacts so many lives. There are countless ways to support Paper for Water, and as it has been a blessing to our family, we believe that you and your family will be equally blessed by your involvement.
Please bow your heads in prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for your loving kindness and guidance in our lives. You are the wonderful Counselor and King of Kings. Every good and perfect gift comes from you, and apart from you, we are nothing. And so it is with a grateful heart that we praise you for giving the Adams family a vision for a thirsty world. For many years, you have graciously made a path for your work on earth to be done through the efforts of Paper for Water. And for that, we give you all the glory. Thank you for orchestrating the events for tonight, and we ask that you bless all the volunteers, attendees, vendors, and supporters that are here. We boldly ask for your providential hand to continue blessing this work. And finally, Father God, may we never lose sight of the fact that because of your Son's sacrifice on the cross, you desire that not one will go thirsty, but have eternal life with you in heaven. John 4:14. Whoever drinks of the water that I will give him shall never be thirsty, but the water that I will give him will become in him a fountain of water springing up to eternal life. Amen.
This evening, the President's Volunteer Service Award. We have 3 bronze awards. If you would come up when I call your name, Maya and Chia. Maya here. How about Michael Roddy? And William Braskamp. And we have a gold award winner, Catherine Adams. All right. And our next order of event.
Okay, this is the Volunteer of the Year Award. This volunteer has gone above and beyond over the years. She is one of the most positive and upbeat people I know. This past summer, we were on a volunteer trip, and we had just gotten our flight delayed a whole day. We were stuck in the New York subway station trying to find a hotel. It was midnight, and everyone was super grumpy, but she was all smiles. Headphones in, music on, she was dancing around while everyone else was having a meltdown. But that is the kind of person she is. Even-keeled, uplifting, and always smiling. Her attitude, willingness to give back, and many artistic talents make her the perfect choice for this year's Youth Volunteer of the Year Award. Please give Christine Barber a warm round of applause. Our next volunteer award. This volunteer has been an absolute pleasure to be around. This past year, I assisted with teaching a Toastmasters class with her at our office for youth. And let me tell you, she is an incredibly gifted teacher with never-ending patience. She is always willing to step up to the plate, handling countless projects, including volunteer events, both in person and virtually. She is one of our most devout paper cutters and folds origami tirelessly. We are not the only people who recognize her hard work, and this year she was a finalist for the DCO Award. Uniquely gifted with leadership skills, a knack for quality control, and endless passion for Paper for Water's mission, please welcome Helen Danby for this year's Volunteer of the Year Award.
I also want to extend a special thanks to the people who worked tirelessly to make this event a success. First, I want to thank Kayla, who has been with Paper for Water for over 6 years and has shared her whole family. She is an incredible partner and has such a big heart for Thursday. I have loved every minute spent working with her. We would also like to thank Erica Denton for making this event possible. We would not be here without her amazing hard work and dedication. We are so grateful for your many talents that have made tonight fabulous. lastly, I want to thank the newest addition to our team, Annalisa. She started working for Paper for Water this fall and was thrown headfirst into all the craziness, but she has been blowing everyone away by her ability to learn quickly, her go-getter attitude, and her impressive work ethic.
Now I'd like to introduce Meredith Land, our MC for the evening. She co-anchors NBC 5 News 5 and 6 p.m. Monday through Friday and has been recognized numerous times for her extensive work in the field of investigative reporting. We are so grateful she is here this evening. Please give Meredith Land a warm welcome.
Everyone's wearing black, except me. I'm wearing Rangers red.
I'm so happy to be here. I'm so happy to see so many familiar faces and honestly so many young faces. I love speaking to women and about empowerment and entrepreneurship, but especially kids, which we don't get to do a whole lot. So you have the best ideas, and I'm excited to hopefully spark something in you tonight. We have quite a lineup. Well, let me call Gail to the stage first. Yes, special music for you. Come on up. Have you sit here? And each of these women are going to give their own bios. Next, we have Catalina. Welcome to the stage, Jamie O'Banion. I didn't choose the music, but I like getting to know each one of you. And I really just kind of want quickly, briefly, for each of you to give your bio. Tell us a little bit about yourselves. We'll start with Gail.
Can you hear me?
You have your mic?
Okay.
There you go, right there. Yes.
Wow. Okay, now you can hear me. I'm Gail Plummer. It's an honor and a privilege to be here this evening with all of you. I'm especially proud to be our participant on the panel and with Catalina and with Jamie. And Catherine and Catherine and Isabel Adams. How wonderful. You guys are terrific. I have been in love with Paper for Water and the girls for many, many years. As far as me, I need to be very brief, and that's good. I started out as a high school Spanish teacher in my career. Grew up in Austin, Texas. Went to the University of Texas. Okay. And I then went into real estate and kind of was floundering around and started my own business many years ago, before probably all of you were born. And I did that with my late husband, and we did international relocation, and the company is Altair Global. It's still there. He celebrated me, my husband Bill, he celebrated me and wanted me to lead the company, which he was a pioneer himself, and it was just a delight. So that's enough about me.
Thank you very much. Kata, your turn.
Thank you, Meredith. So I'm Catalina Gonzalez. I am originally from Colombia, so the mission really, really gets close to my heart because, you know, I grew up with a lot of poverty and people with no running water around me. So I'm very thankful to be here. And what do? I founded Dondolo, which is, we do clothing. I'm wearing one of the women's dresses. So we do women's and children's dresses and other things. And they're all handmade in Colombia by women. So it's all about women empowerment and, you know, helping children, helping the women to better their homes and the life of their children. So I'm very, very excited to be here.
Jamie.
Thanks, Meredith. Thanks, everyone. So thrilled to be here and a huge believer in what is being built and so impressed as a mother of three thinking about these amazing girls at the ages of 8 and 5 when I think my kids were wanting to play Roblox or whatever the game was, having such amazing vision and then putting that vision into action. So I'm a huge advocate and hope that after a conversation this evening that we can all walk away with that same type of passion, help support these incredible organizations and just support dreams in general. So I founded my skincare line, Beauty Bio, about a decade ago, and had no idea it would grow into what it's grown into today. So it's been fun. We're at Harrods in London, Sephora, Ulta, Nordstrom, Mecca in Australia, launching into Asia now, and we were just acquired this summer. So I have a boss now. It's very strange. I've decided to stay on for a bit, but it is definitely different being part of a publicly traded entity now and navigating that piece. But it's been an amazing journey, and I am so devoted and committed to helping, especially young female entrepreneurs, navigate and grow and scale. So whether it's a 501c3, philanthropic or not, it's so important to have a village of people like you being here today supporting a dream and a vision. And it's an incredibly beautiful thing when it comes together.
I want to start with you, Jamie, because obviously you can probably tell she modeled back in the day before she became a huge CEO of a company here. But talk about how you had that spark, how you got the idea, and really what it took to move forward on that first skincare product or whatever it was. It wasn't a tool first, it was a product.
Yeah, no, it's a great question. And I think that's probably why I love seeing the impetus of the story even today, right? It starts with one idea, one sweet grandmother who says, I'm going to teach you how to fold, or someone who gives you that spark, and then it's implementing that. So I grew up in the skincare industry. My father's a physician, and he is also an owner who's retired now in one of the top labs globally for skincare ingredients, so peptides, retinoids, and so forth. And I grew up around, if you open our kitchen refrigerator, it was like unlabeled containers, science experiment always, and a total blast. But there was a huge opportunity, white space, to help provide transparency in a really crowded market. And just like baking, do you have any bakers out there? Right? Okay, if you make a loaf of bread and you forget the salt, because I've done it looks beautiful, but it tastes like what? Like a shoe, right? So it's so important, just like skincare formulation, that you have the right ingredients, the right concentration. And so it's been fun in the industry being an advocate for helping people understand you don't need 40 steps. Here are the basic things, and really provide what we call truth and beauty, which are the 3 words we have in neon above our conference room glassboard. So that's where it started, and I began, I think it was me and one employee working in my back house, and I was modeling with Kim Dawson and saving my money, and I didn't pay myself for years because I was doing this job and focusing on this job, and pretty soon it became large enough that we took on private equity investors about 4 years ago, but I still maintain majority of the business, which was important to me, and controlled the board. And then we moved into a strategic sale this summer, but every single piece, little by little, I didn't know what I didn't know. And that was probably my superpower. If I had worked for Lauder for years or L'Oreal, I would see how completely impossible what I was asking myself or my team to do really was. And I think that is something when you're feeling scared about building something, know that you can lean into that because it can be your greatest strength. The first time I met with Nordstrom, I literally had no idea what I was doing. I had a friend who knew someone on the Nordstrom team, and before I walked in that meeting, I thought, okay, if I was a Nordstrom buyer, what would I want to know? I would want to know, how is your product different? What does this look like? When could you launch? How much could you ship? And I probably only said 30% of what I needed to say, but it was enough to begin a relationship. And we've grown into one of the fastest growing skincare brands in North America and had incredible velocity because every person on our team has been willing to say, okay, no doesn't mean no, we're just still negotiating, we'll figure out a path forward. And even though the company's been acquired, I still take that same level of interest and care and passion, which has been
a delight to see something that you believe in so deeply continue to grow and become something bigger than you could have ever imagined.
Incredible. Costa, we'll just kind of go down the line. Talk about how your journey began and where you got that idea.
So I was actually, so I got married very soon, 24 years old, got pregnant 6 months later, and I really wanted to be a mom. So I kind of like, after college, graduated from SMU, met my husband at 17 years old. So, you know, been together for a long time. We have been growing together. So basically, I, you know, with my newborn baby in my hands, my husband walks in one day and I tell him, okay, I need to do something else. I love being a mom and I want a lot of children. I have 4 now, 4 boys. And that's my priority and I love it so much, but I want to be able to help others. And I want to be able to help people in Colombia. So that's where the spark happens. And in my most difficult moments, running the company, you know, budgeting or etc., I literally have gone back to why am I doing this? And it's to help the 150 women that work in our factory and the 50 more that do all the hand embroidery at home. So they get to stay at home with their children and, you know, keep doing all the hand smocking. So that's what keeps me going. That's my spark. So where did I start it? Literally, when my husband came in from work, I was like, I want to do something, and I want to do something for children, give back to children, and I'm going to do children's clothing. And we started in wholesale, and we did 5 years of wholesale. Going to market, you know, it's hard. I don't know if anybody here has been to market, but American Smart and Smart is not fun. But it is fun, but it's, you know, it gets tiring. So at 2020, I asked my team, which is here, and I asked them, I was like, are we ready to, you know, sell direct to consumer? Are we ready to tell our story? Because I cannot travel anymore for market. I literally just had my 4th baby, and I truly wanted to stay here in Dallas and not travel anymore. And they said, yes, let's do it. So literally January we did it, and then COVID happened in March. And it was it was God sent, because we pull out of like all the rent from the American Smart in Atlanta, it was perfect. And we started telling our story in Instagram and through social media. And we grew from one year to another 300%. We were selling all this beautiful clothing for children, only for children, for special occasions and for making memories at home. Not even going to parties, not even leaving your household. It was front porch, backyard pictures with your family. And it was incredible because we found the true purpose and, soul of the brand, which is making memories with your families. And that's where it all starts. That's where, our moms, our clients, our babies, tell the story for us, which for me right now, seeing everybody's Christmas pictures dressing Dondolo or seeing, pictures in their houses dressing Dondolo fills my heart so much because that's who we are as a brand.
Thank you. Gail, tell us how you got started. And your business, a lot of people, maybe younger people aren't familiar with, right? Relocation.
Right. It's not something you can explain very, very easily, but think about it this way. If you're working for someone or a company, and you're told, well, we need you to report to our office in Kansas City, or in London, or in Singapore. Wherever it might be in the world, our clients, their people, had to move all over. And that's an incredible stress on the family. And so our business is to help people in one of the most stressful times of their lives, and that means the whole family. So we did that as a service, and as I said a minute ago, this is a business that is still going, which I'm very proud of, that fact. And so you just need to have people who can project empathy and compassion and knowledge through, back in the old days, through a telephone. Now, technology helps with all of those things. You have FaceTime and you have all that. You still, though, have to project. You're not meeting with these folks all over the world in person. So I had the idea that in order to foster the idea of service and foster the idea of helping others, that we needed to be sure that we did that locally. So whereas we were working globally, we need to think locally. So having offices, first in Dallas, then in Wilton, Connecticut, now Shelton, Connecticut, San Francisco Bay Area, London, Paris, Brussels, Singapore, Shanghai, now all these places, but still think locally. So I started with that idea and working with each independent local office and the employees there, and made sure that we did something to help the community. And we did, and that's where the bonding happened. And when people are bonded, they provide a better service. So you want to, as we said, make it fun. So your work is not just a job, hopefully it's a calling. And that's where the magic happens in service, in the service industry, is when people feel that connected to the other person that they're trying to help. So that's the start of a wonderful service, attitude, team spirit, band of brothers and sisters. And by the way, world events happen, as my colleagues on the dais here all know. It's not every day is not fun. And you try to make things fun, but it's not always fun. And things happen, and you have to be careful that you are still providing that magic service, because when world events happen, it's even more stressful. So that's how that idea got started.
I think you make a great point, that it doesn't always look beautiful. And when you look at this panel of women, they have it all together, right? They've made their mark. They've been successful. They've rang the bell. And it didn't start that way. And it certainly isn't always still that way. And I want to talk to you about that, Jamie, because, if you follow her Instagram account, and I have for many years, you see that she's, up working, on the computer doing spreadsheets, and then she's flying through the air, and now she's up at 4 a.m. on the Home Shopping Network, and you kind of wonder, when does she sleep? And how does she pull it together like this? So kudos to you. But there's a lot of sweat, and there's a lot of hard work and grit behind the scenes to make it all possible. Talk about maybe one of your big pitfalls and how you navigated through that to be successful.
That's a great question. And can we just please applaud Meredith, who's an amazing woman and superwoman herself, and juggling motherhood and Prime News, and just you are part of this panel and an incredible inspiration to so many people. So thank you.
So much.
So true. I could list 1 million things that I have done wrong, would do again, and rework. I would say in terms of pitfalls, when you're building anything, you will make mistakes. That's par for the course. I was on a call, 4 or 5 calls this afternoon. It's usually just kind of back to back. And the director on my operations team said I accidentally threw away $600,000 of inventory. It was less than ideal. And this is someone who's been on my team for years. We worked through how exactly this happened and pallet issues, warehousing, just all the logistics. And genuinely, I was less upset about what happened, but I really wanted to understand why it happened and how it happened, right? And that's the biggest takeaway. You'll never be able to predict that something is going to go wrong, but you can stop it from happening twice. So I really only get upset if it happens again. So it's really just teasing out what happened, what's the immediate short term, stop the bleeding, right? And then what's the long term plan so that we can course correct and ensure that it doesn't happen again. And I think when you can approach life that way, I tell my team all the time, especially my executive team, don't think of it as problems. Don't think of it as a problem. Think of it as a puzzle, right? Because every day will be filled with problems. Every meeting, there's a new, what do you think about this? How should we move forward with this? Here's my recommendation here. And when you start looking at it as taking the emotion out of it, right, and saying, okay, this landing page is not converting like it should. Okay, well, let's move this up here. Let's try this. Let's A/B test. And then it can be fun. But to Gail's point, it's not always, in fact, 90% of it is not glamorous or fun. And you see the moments, I mean, Allure Best of Beauty and Vogue and all of these like glossy things, but it is truly like running a marathon. I am not a marathon runner. I'm a mental mountain every day. But genuinely, I guarantee my friends who run, they don't want to get up. Like, who likes getting up at 5 a.m. in the rain, in the cold to go run? Maybe someone here, and I want to talk to you after. I saw a hand, a little hand, that's amazing. But what they do love, and what we all love, is the feeling when you're crossing the finish line. Whether it's for time, whether it's not. So all of those moments when the kids are crying and the phones ring up and you're trying to juggle it all and get out the door and make the flight and do the thing and close the deal, whatever it might be, those can be hard and they can be draining, but you have that mentality of finding joy in the journey along the way, pressing forward, course correcting when you can, think of things as puzzles instead of problems, move forward, set a course, pivot as needed, and then you have that feeling when you hit those internal marks, across the finish line, and it's a beautiful thing.
And you really do learn the most in adversity, right? In the mistakes, in the product that didn't come out as you thought it would, right?
Absolutely.
That's when you really grow. It's hard to know it until you're there, right? So you have like a live shot on the news where you just like completely melt down and you're like, back to you! Take it, I can't do it anymore. So I have to ask you the same thing, Kata. Was there anything, a point in your career along the way where you were like, oh my gosh, this is the worst thing ever, like a rough cut of a beautiful dress or whatever, where you had to kind of navigate around it and make it work?
I'm thinking about so many right now in my head. It's always something different. I think the two that, have been the hardest, throughout Dondolo's life has been, that demand and supply issue, like how many do we do, and when we do a lot of one collection, then it's the one that stays and nobody likes. So I wish I could have like a ball, everybody, right? Like the crystal ball to be able to predict which is the collection that I'm gonna put all my eggs in, because it's gonna be sold out. But no, it's always the other one. But so trying to deal with that supply and demand and be able to have that capital to grow in a healthy way. And also for me personally, so like I was saying, I'm a mom of 4, and there's a point, I think as a business owner, that you have to stop and think, okay, what is my priority right now in my life? I have a 12-year-old, 9-year-old, 7-year-old, and 4-year-old, and my priority is them. So being able to have a team that you can rely on and that's incredible, being able to have your priorities straight, to I pick up and drop off every day my kids, and talking to some girls at Ursuline the other day, and I was telling, they were like, well, but you cannot be a businesswoman and a mom at the same time, and I feel that women all the time are put in there, what do you want to choose? You cannot choose both. And being able to, do both and prioritize my children and have Dondolo still for what it is, for that heart of giving back. It's incredible. So so the demand and supply and, just the
Did you ever cut a dress?
Day-to-day logistics,
Yeah.
meetings and babies and friends and husband.
They always end up down here. Just kidding. Did you ever cut a beautiful top or blouse, a dress that just nobody liked. It's
So
like,
many,
"Oh,
so
I love
many,
this."
like fabrics. I remember one season we did a fabric inspired by Colombia, and it had birds, and I love birds. And we went to market, and everybody in market was like, I don't like birds, so they didn't buy anything. And I was like, what I was thinking, I like birds. Why? So yeah, so many times, and I think that the growth is very important, but also being able to, accept that feedback and that, critical of everything that other people tell you as a way to grow and not to push you back, but always like looking forward to what's gonna come. Okay, there's always, and with my team, going back to what David was saying, with my team, when it's not about them making a mistake. It's the whole team. Because, if you're in a team, everybody's supposed to be helping each other, right? So if it's one thing that happened, well, at the end of the day, I am overlooking everything. So it's my fault as well. So we're learning. We're all learning, and there's always trusting God as second chance. I believe a lot in opportunities and second chances, so.
Thank you, beautiful. And I can't imagine no one would wear birds. I personally love birds, and I have birds all over my china. So here's to birds. We'll buy your birds. Gail, I want to ask you the same question. I mean, just even early on in your business, was there just a moment where you're like, this is not working? And how did you navigate out?
Many moments, many sleepless nights. Things happen. I will say that one of the things I learned early on is that even though in your mind you're saying, or even out loud, you say to yourself, I can do that. I can do it. I can do it. And that is very important. But you also have, really important, but you have to also know when you can't. And if you personally have the skill, that's awesome. But it doesn't mean you should do every single thing. So there are gaps in talent in your employee base, and you want to cover those gaps so that you're not hiring the same exact personality, because as you probably know, both of you, one size really doesn't fit all. And sometimes you really have to look at that. And in our case, our clients are vastly different, and you look at your customer bases, and they're vastly different. And so the corporate culture was something that we had to really look at and tailor our talented employees to whatever is that culture, because the cultures at these companies, in my service business, the cultures range from high tech, very high tech, I can't really name those, but to making an assembly line type, let's say, equipment product. And so you have really vastly different customer bases, and you need to work with all of those. And the other one quick thing that I learned early on is, and this is as a boss, even though you may love someone dearly, they may not be a right fit. And one of the hardest things I had to learn was that. And you are as kind as you can be. You try to put someone in a different role within your employee base, and sometimes it doesn't work. So if it does, that is great. But sometimes it doesn't, and that's really tough. But you have to look at it as, if somebody's not working out, you have to make a tough decision, and you always think, oh my, but they have 5 children, or they have an elderly parent living with them. You can't think about that. You just help them as much as you can. That's a tough side.
It is a tough side, but it's part of it.
It is.
My bosses always say, you'd be a terrible manager, Meredith. You'd be horrible. It's so hard, and it is. It's so hard to manage various different personalities, and I really haven't had to do a lot of it, so that's probably good for me, according to them. I want to talk about philanthropy, because each of you has put a philanthropy piece to your business. And even in what I do, I feel like we connect with viewers the most every time of year at Christmas, at the holiday season, when we do Angel Tree, the Salvation Army. That is a time when we all go to the malls and we meet our viewers, and they're picking up an angel from the angel tree and buying for, a family that doesn't have coats. You see the needs and all that. You know what angel tree is. And I think that that's the time when we're the most connected with our viewers and for you, the people that you're selling to. So talk, and I'll start with you, Jamie, about how what you have tied to Beauty Bio
Thank
to
you.
give back.
Thank you, and I appreciate that. We try to select an organization quarterly as a team that we can spend our time with, because as amazing as it is that we partner with Susan G. Komen to, I am so in love with what these girls are doing here, so we will absolutely be picking a way that we can support and sharing that out on social as well. Those are all so important consumer-facing initiatives that we do a lot of. But internally, to your point, coming together as a team, sometimes the easy thing is to cut the check, right? What means the most to me is going and spending time with the organization, helping we'll do a toy drive and you'll walk into our lobby and it is so generously stocked from our team members, and we'll spend time together. We went and helped to organize one of a clothing area for a shelter that helps to contribute Family Place. There's so many amazing different organizations here locally. I was speaking at an event in San Antonio, and they donate and help women who can't afford any type of breast cancer treatment. And we have an amazing serum that helps to grow your hair back. So we're donating to them to help. There's so many different ways that you can help, whether it's underwriting one specific organization or helping your community to get involved, meeting your consumers, but also as a team. I think I've had such amazing feedback. I'm how grateful our team is to get to have that time. We say we're going to stay off and we'll go to North Texas Food Bank or wherever. It's just a great thing to spend that time serving the community together as a team.
So for us, same. We try to go every 2-3 months to different organizations here in Dallas. So I guess we're coming to do some origami soon, hopefully. We can. And we do community partners in Dallas. I've been to the Birthday Party Project. We love organizations that educate children and help better their lives in any way, through happiness, through clothing, etc. And talking about clothing, so back in Colombia, so I have this big dream that has been slowly coming to life. But so the whole point was, to make clothing that help children. So we Gondola Gifts, we have a nonprofit that actually helps different communities in Colombia that don't have any running water, don't have electricity, and it's one mom, 7 children, no father around scenario. And we help them through giving back clothing, giving back toys at Christmas, so very tailored to their needs of the community every year. But now the big dream is to be able to build a community center there and to be able to educate children and the moms. I feel that, women have fathers, men are amazing, don't get me wrong, my husband is the best, but as women we have a huge responsibility with our families and our children, and I think that we also need to be taught, a lot of, I've been learning a lot through growth, but, so I would love to do, to help these women do some of the learning and for their children as well. So, yeah, that's Lucas. It's incredible. Community center would be really incredible. And we have some packing cubes, at our website that everything that's donated back to Gondola Gifts. So it has been really fun. Thank you. How about for you, Gail?
Well, anything that you can do with your team at your company, anything that you can do personally, get your managers involved, get your whole team involved, anything that makes an impact, and that your team can see that impact, one person at a time, or 100 people, or 1,000 people, but especially one person, because you never know what the ripple effect is going to really be. One person that you and your team impact in a positive way, no matter what it might be, through philanthropy, one person can change the world. And wouldn't it be wonderful if, 20 years later, you're watching the news and, oh my goodness, there's so-and-so from a folding event. And so another thing is just the amazing people that you meet along the way and that you become very attached to, and it's just a joy.
That. I want to be considerate of your time, but I think the biggest question I have to finish this out is, what is your one piece of advice to someone in this audience who has an idea and just wants to get started but is a little fearful, right? I mean, I think that's the hardest part, is just taking that first step, right? I have a little news feed on Instagram that I started during the pandemic, and my friend challenged me because I decided to leave the 10 p.m. news to be with my family. And I said, I know you're going to be so disappointed that I'm leaving my primetime show. This was a woman that I really, really admire. And she said, I think that's a great idea to be a mother. She said, but what are you going to do now? What are you going to fill that little space with? I challenge you today to get on that Instagram and to start that news feed. It's not going to be perfect. The graphics aren't going to be slick. But just start. Just put something up and start talking to your viewers and let them decide what to name it and all that. It kind of took off from there. Obviously, you have much bigger companies than my Instagram account. So, Miguel, I'll start with you on that. What is your best piece of advice to just getting started?
Oh gosh, just do it. And it's real simple. You have to find a way. If you have a vision and you're thinking, and this happens to everyone, it's real, you think, well, gosh, I can't do that because. Okay, voice or write down the because, and then leave it alone and come back to it the next day, sleep on it, whatever, and then think, okay, you mentioned a puzzle, and it is a puzzle. Come back to it and try to resolve, okay, I can do this because. So that's what drives me. It drives me every day. And sometimes you are stressed, you have different things, but if you go back to that original vision, and I have different things on my desk that have inspired me from other people, but it's just, oh yeah, I have 500 emails or texts or something I need to answer, and everybody's important, but here's that vision, don't forget it.
Writing it down is huge. I need to do better. How about for you, Katja? What's your best piece of advice?
So I've been very fortunate in this community, the Dallas community, to have so many incredible women that own businesses that are extremely supportive, and also throughout the U.S. And I think my advice is to look for someone that is doing something similar to what you're thinking you want to do. So if it's in the clothing industry, look for a mentor. And nowadays with social media, communications are incredible. So DM them, email them, try to find a connection with them. Because I think that finding those, especially other women, to guide you, help you, support you, invite you to events where other women are there. Jamie here, she invited me to one event, like 3 or 4 years ago, maybe. Yes, my baby was really, 4 years ago. And I met a lot of women there that have helped me with my business. So I think it's, nowadays, I think the part about competing with each other has ended. And it's more about, sharing it and coming together and growing even more. So I feel that my best piece of advice is just to look around and see who's doing something that inspires you and literally ask them for help, advice, mentorship, a coffee.
And they usually say yes.
Oh, 100%, all the time. I have coffees all the time with people I don't know.
I do too. Young reporters. And I'm like, let's do this. It's exciting. It's exciting when you see someone have that spark, right? And you see the potential in them and you want to help them grow. So I love that. Mentorship. Jamie, what is your best?
I think to simplify it, I would say start adding the word yet to defeatist statements. For example, I don't speak Italian yet, right? There's a quote that I shared recently with my kids. We do a little quote every morning going to school, and it's do what you can with what you have where you are. And I think sometimes we see the elephant, and how do you eat an elephant? Bite, 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 right? So when you start opening your mind to, yet, it is possible, I can do it, I can't do all of that yet, but I can start here, now. There are seasons of life. Young entrepreneurs that will sit down and go, oh my gosh, but it wasn't all this in the beginning. Like, you're seeing it today. You didn't see like the messy middle and the crazy, and there are seasons of life when my children were really little babies that I didn't grow the business at the same scale. The day I dropped my youngest Gracie off at full day school was the day I met with Neiman Marcus. We opened up retail and had triple-digit growth from there on out. But it was really important to me to be present and home with my kids. That was my journey. And it's okay if that's not your journey or your season or your moment. It doesn't have to all happen at once. So do what you can with what you have, where you are. Maybe keep a foot in the door and give yourself some grace, because it is, I think, oftentimes we're our own worst critics. And you just get back up and pivot. And speaking of baseball, I think Babe Ruth said it's pretty hard to beat someone who never gives up. So you just have to get up, dust it off, and move forward.
Yes, that's so wise, because you can look at social media and everyone seems to have it all together, right? They've figured it out, and it didn't start that way, right? For either, any of you, hard to believe looking at you today, Jamie, Kata, Gail, thank you so much for your wisdom and your time tonight. Just love it.
So much. I admire you so much. My goodness. Gotta get my kids doing that, right?
For sharing your evening with us, and a special thanks to Meredith Land and our wonderful panelists. We hope you will continue to support Paper for Water's purpose of bringing clean water to people around the world by donating tonight. We have donation cards that will be passed around, and you can also use the QR code in the back of the program to donate as well. And our last reminder to bid for the silent auction. It will be closing shortly, and we still have some fabulous items that you can bid on.
Also, please grab a gift bag in the lobby on your way out. We don't want any of them to be left over. Thank you so much.